Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome back to Fallout New Vegas Survival Mode with the JSawyer Mod. Last time, well, we finished up with Boone, or rather, we didn't. I kind of remembered, 5 minutes into actually editing that episode, wait, there's something really important I actually kind of forgot to show off. So, first things first, we're going to nip back to Boone, I'm going to show you something that actually I really should have put in, because the entire point of this series is I want to show off lots of stuff I think actually loads of you haven't seen before, and there's one particular thing when it comes to Boone I think loads of people haven't seen, and I forgot to put it in the Boone episode, so well bloody done me. So as you're all aware, you can speak to any companion, and then one of the options is looking in their inventory. You can also kind of go into actually their little kind of chatty mode and actually tell them to look in their inventory there. Doesn't matter, you can do either, it's the same thing. And you can see what Boone's holding. So in this case, I've got him holding the unique minigun because it's very, very heavy, but I don't actually want to sell it. I might actually get some use out of its situation. It's very, very useful. Then he's got the outfit that he starts with, that now he's wearing the combat armor I could take off him, his sunglasses, and his beret. You can take all that off him, and he has a unique line of dialogue, by the way, if you actually take the beret off him, which is quite funny. So just to take the beret off him there.
I'd really like my beret back, please.
There you go, he immediately asks for his beret back. But the beret thing wasn't what I mean to show off. What I meant to show off was, you can see there in his inventory, you saw what was there. But characters sometimes have invisible things in their inventory. And let's be honest, you don't often see a companion die in Fallout New Vegas. Normally they're invincible, they just go down to the ground like Skyrim. And in hardcore mode, let's be honest, if a companion dies, then you immediately reach for the quick load, be honest. So Boone very rarely dies. If we kill him, however, he's got an item that's invisible on him. An item that gives you an interesting little bit of lore around Boone that I think most people have never seen. So let's just quickly kill Boone. This won't take very long. Critical strike. Come on, Boone. Stay down. Stay down. And there he goes. Shot through a cow. He is now dead. Boone has died, lost the spotter perk. I'm not going to let this stand, by the way, because I want good endings for the companions if I can. But now if we look at his inventory, there's something new. There's a note, which otherwise, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to get. A note for Carla. This is the note that he wrote while he was on campaign with the NCR. So that if he died while he was actually out, doing NCR business, this would be the letter that would be found in his body and returned to Carla by the NCR, and we can actually read it. And as far as I'm aware, this is the only way you can read this, by Boone dying. Carla, if you're reading this, then you know. Sorry. Wanted to make it back home to you. The pension won't be much, but it should help you and the baby get by. Want you to remarry when you meet the right person. Don't want you to have to be on your own. Not sure the right way to say how I feel about you. Think you know already, though. Always seemed like you knew what I meant, maybe better than I did. Wish I was there with you now. There are things I couldn't tell you. Tried. Whatever you learn over time about my service in the NCR, hope you can forgive me. Lastly, know you were against it, but if it's a girl, want her to be named after her mother. Know it's playing dirty to win the argument this way, but too bad. It's worth it. Craig. And there you are. Boone's... Well, I guess the closest thing we'll get to Boone's last will and testament, I suppose. Maybe he didn't really have much to give away aside from that pension he specifically mentioned. And now the cows just eat him. As I say, I'm going to load back to the Crimson Caravan, and Boone is not actually going to be dead in his play file. But yeah, I just thought that's something I think a lot of people don't know. Because yeah, Boone just has this invisible item in his inventory you can't take off him. There's no way to get it off him. And the only way to get it is, to literally have him die. So that's nice. Anyway, back to the Crimson Caravan, and time to pay attention to Freeside. I'd like to do Freeside and then go into the Strip, because now that I've dealt with Boone, like we've dealt with the last big scenario where we've got kind of a plot-critical thing that's actually going to give me, a reason companion-wise to go and murder a whole bunch of Legion. So as a result, this is a good time to get the Karma reset, because I could really do with getting those flipping Legion assassins off my back, because those guys are flipping nasty. So let's go to Freeside, and you can meet the new mod. And as we come up to the North Gate, I must say it's probably the biggest mod we've actually installed yet in terms of the amount of changes it makes to the game. This makes some real big changes, and I think you're going to see it straight away. Welcome, of course, to Open Freeside, where we have actually reunited a large part of Freeside together there. Hang on, let's just get out a nice sniper rifle so we can look down there. And we have indeed got a clean run straight down the street, from the opening area, through the Kings, and beyond it too. Well, the gate is beyond there. But yeah, the draw distance in New Vegas is not perfect. Even when you've got the draw distance set to maximum, it hasn't drawn the Protectrons at the end there. Maybe half the reason they cut it up. But let's talk about New Vegas quickly, because it's important to understand what you're actually seeing here, which is New Vegas was made in about 18 months by Obsidian off the Fallout 3 engine. Of course, even that 18 months, they couldn't spend the whole 18 months actually flipping, programming the whole thing. They had to agree to the terms of it and diddly-diddly-dee. Oh yeah, and then of course, they had to stop programming, so there was actually, time to flipping, put it on discs and whatever. So they had very little time to, hello, you're all going to die now, because none of you have got guns, you stupid idiots. Now, as a consequence of that, New Vegas is a game, though it is my favourite game of all time and a truly spectacular game, it is a game full of compromise. Now, one of the compromises is it had to be a game that was ready to play on console, and of course at the time we're talking 360 and PS3, as well as PC. So, areas as big as the entirety of Freeside all in one go were just not viable. So they had to put loading zones and cut it up. The other thing that there are compromises on is there's loads of ideas Obsidian clearly had at the beginning of that 18 months that they just didn't have time to implement. And Freeside is, if you like, the capital city of compromise in the Mojave Wasteland. And this is why I've installed this mod, because this mod is not just Freeside being opened up and all of those load zones got rid of. And by the way, it's not just getting rid of this big central load zone, by the way. They've opened up a whole lot of other quite clever stuff as well. So over to the left of the Kings here, there is now a straight shot down to Mick and Ralph's and the gate beyond. So that's now opened up, which is very, very cool. And the rat is able to go this way as well. Let's actually just kill that. No, don't. Why would you be targeting the local? Why would you be targeting the... I'd say it's pretty obviously the rat. Never mind. That's right, the rat. Go for the rat. Take the rat down. The children want to eat the rat. I'd say the children can eat the rat. They come up to the rat and... Come on over. If you've never seen this before, I like it. The children are chasing the rat. If they actually kill the rat...
Hi there. Thanks, mister.
There you are. They actually say thank you. And they just dig in and start eating the rat raw. Isn't that lovely? Meanwhile, if you kind of go down here to the Silver Rush, you've got yourself down there. This area's opened up. That's now a shortcut down to Cerulean Robotics. And of course, this way through here that leads out to the front is also open. So the thing about Freeside, as I was saying, is in terms of compromised capital of New Vegas, people went digging through the files in New Vegas, and they found a whole lot of stuff that is relevant to Freeside. They found a whole lot of audio clips that aren't used, a whole lot of behaviors and patterns and stuff that just aren't in the game, but clearly it's what Obsidian wanted to put in the game, because they even got around to even recording voice samples, but they just didn't have time to program it in. So this mod, I forget the exact name, it's Open Freeside Remastered or something. I'll put it down in the description along with all the other mods that I'm using. So what basically people did was they went through all of the voice samples and all of the programming and all the snippets of code they could find, and they used that to figure out what Obsidian was probably going for, and they put it all back in the game. So this isn't just opening up the load zones, this is actually adding a whole bunch of stuff as well. So one thing you may have noticed happening in the background is there's an NPC that seems to be just kind of following me around just a little bit. This little NPC here, strange of this NPC, when I walked way up down that way, down towards the thugs at the end there, that NPC was following me around. That is because, clearly, Obsidian originally wanted there to be pickpockets in Freeside, which kind of makes sense, it's the sort of area which that does make sense in, but they didn't actually have time to do it. But they clearly meant to, because the voice sample's been recorded. So if you just stand still, I'm just going to kind of literally stand here, look away, and let this pickpocket bump into me, and then in a second...
If it can be bought, it can be found and it can run.
There you go. And they run away. But I don't think I like that idea. I think you're not going to have any legs anymore. There you go. One leg crippled. There we go. Try running away now, why don't ya? I just wasted... Why was I loaded the armor-piercing rounds up? That's a shame. I just wasted all my flipping armor-piercing rounds. So you've got a local there that just kind of bumps into you and just takes 100 caps out of your inventory. You can then kill them for no penalty and you get your 100 caps back. I think there's a second person that does that too. I don't know why I had the... You have no idea why I had the flipping armor-piercing rounds loaded into this thing. There's some thugs. There's some thugs coming. Good, yeah, good luck. Just shot the pool cue out of his hands. Are you 100% sure you want to do this? Oh, you actually got a gun? That's intriguing. I mean, you can see here the crowds of thugs have got a lot bigger and a lot more dangerous as well. So there's like, you know, I was just kind of rushed by a group of like 3 or 4 of them, and there's still another 3 kind of hanging up here. Though they have decided to kind of like, you know, corner themselves here. So, well done, lads. There is literally no way down for you at this point. So, good luck. They've got better weapons as well. They've actually got things like combat knives. They actually get varmint rifles, some of them. So the thugs aren't just purely melee armed anymore. They've actually got decent melee weapons and guns. So in general, like, you know, if you come in here and you run into the thugs, they pose a little bit more of a challenge. Dixon also goes hostile, which is interesting. He kind of went hostile automatically when I attacked the thug. So I think he's been slightly realigned or something. That or the game had a bit of a hiccup. One or the other. Either case, Dixon being dead's probably for the best. So this mod basically opens up this area. It adds like a fair few new, just kind of more people, so it just feels a bit more populated, which is nice. Plus, it just gets rid of the biggest annoyance, which is I hated doing the Freeside quest back on console. Because basically, like, if you needed to do something for the kings, then for the most part you needed to go and speak to the king, load zone, run out here, get from one side of Freeside to the other, load zone, go to the followers, say, load zone. So that's all been removed. The gates of the followers, you probably noticed, are indeed open as well. And the mod also just kind of adds some stuff that just makes a bit of sense. Even though I don't think like this was actually in the original game files or anything. But you'll notice like just occasionally groups pass through. Groups of kind of travellers kind of just pass through clearly on their way through Freeside, on their way to the strip. Because, of course, only the NCR are supposed to be using the monorail, so this is how people have to get into the strip. It makes sense that people have to walk down the central street here. So just occasionally the game just spawns a group of travellers that walk from the gate down to the strip. This is the sort of change I don't mind. Like, even though that's technically adding something in, it's a very small bit of just flavour, and it makes sense, and it's been well thought through, and it uses all the existing assets. Now, fun little couple of things, actually, I want to talk about in terms of, like, Freeside actually heading down towards the strip, because there's one very fun one I kind of want to start off with, which is, many of you will be, hello, just some thugs, where are you going? Normally you attack me. Where are you heading? Who do you want to kill? What's going on? I'm going after these thugs. I'm trying to figure out what it is they want. Well, whatever it is, they're not getting it. I've just taken them out. Marvellous. Meanwhile, down at this end of the strip, actually, rather than travellers heading to the strip, you indeed have gamblers who have kind of come out of the strip, which is very, very cool indeed. So you've got gamblers, but the gamblers, presumably being wealthier because they're dressed nicer, have their own bodyguard, whereas the travellers just have guns and have to just take care of all their troubles by themselves, which is very, very cool indeed. Anyway, now over to one thing I do actually want to show off, which is, one, the gate guards, by the way, in this area are really, really rather weird. Which is normally, if you kind of use a non-silence weapon and shoot someone and kill them and other kind of things of the same faction see it, then you are in trouble. Then, you know, you're going to be shot. Not so for the Securitrons at the gate. So let's just quickly take one of these guys out here, right in the monitor. Marvellous. So he explodes. Now, technically, of course, while they might not have seen me do it, though I was detected, they don't go hostile, they don't go nasty, they don't start hunting for you, which is kind of odd, actually. Now, that can work very much to your advantage if you're looking for a really cheap, easy way to just kind of cheese into the strip. Because you can't actually run past the Securitrons. If you try and run past the Securitrons, the gate is actually locked and it can't be lockpicked. It's one of the locks that can literally only be opened up with an actual key. But you know who's got actual keys? My goodness, the Securitrons have actual keys. So, now that I've shot this one and he's fallen down here, where I'm totally allowed to be, I just take the Vegas gate key right here. I've now got the key for that gate.
Don't go past the south gate greeter without talking to it first.
You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to make a run for the gate, take the key, enter the strip. So there we are in the strip now, and if we now immediately turn around and go back out and into Freeside, as you can see, all the Securitrons are 100% fine with me. They're totally okay with me. Because the game actually has a slightly odd way of calculating whether or not you should be in the strip, which is, if you come back through the door out of the strip into Freeside, the game is now fine with you being here in terms of the Securitrons forever, because of course you could have entered the strip by going via the monorail. So the game basically puts in, like, as a backup, okay, if person comes out of strip into Freeside, then person must be okay, they got into the strip some other way, so therefore they're okay to walk past the security greeter forever and ever. So now you basically kind of go forward and past here. So basically, if you've got a decent sniper rifle, snipe off one of the robots, grab his key off him, and you can just go in and out of the strip the front way through Freeside forever. Now there's also an interesting question about this lovely chappie, this guy who gets shot by all of these Securitrons to show, hey, don't try and rush the gate or you'll get shot. Of course, if you kill all the Securitrons, by the way, he actually just comes and stands here. He doesn't actually make it to the gate, because the game basically has him programmed to run to this spot right here and then get shot. The mod also adds a whole bunch of squatters in, because, like, obviously a big thing of the plot of this area is, hey, there's all these NCR squatters everywhere, but in the base game there aren't actually that many squatters around. So the game's basically just increased the number of people listed as squatters, and they're all over the shop, like over here and over there, and there's a few more sitting around. So, like, these are all very small changes, but I'm perfectly happy that they're actually here. Anyway, let's go back to an original timeline, because I don't want to have murdered that little robot at the top. That was mean of me. The thing I particularly like about this mod, by the way, is it makes Freeside just make a whole lot more sense. Not just the squatters, but the kings actually serve a purpose. Like, previously the game just said, hey, this is the gang that rules the streets, and it didn't really mean anything. Now it kind of does, because the number of kind of Freeside thugs that seems to spawn seems to have kind of gone up a little bit, and now when those guys spawn, because the kings now actually have kind of a clear reign across the whole street, right from the gate all the way through to the strip gate itself, they actually very often will clean up the thugs, and they're actually doing a decent job, because of course there's travellers constantly trying to pass through. Here's some more travellers passing through right now, and actually these ones are gamblers. These ones are actually gamblers, yeah, so gamblers heading back to the strip, travellers and gamblers heading to and from the strip, and the kings actually do keep them safe. So the kings actually make a lot more sense at this point. Though, fair warning, obviously there is a reason why Obsidian didn't do it this way, which is it was too much stress for consoles, and it puts a lot more stress on PCs, even pretty decent PCs like mine. So my frame rate, I'm seeing it stutter, which it doesn't normally do in Fallout New Vegas at all. And in general, this does increase your risk of crashing a fair bit. But, you know, it's New Vegas. You're prepared for that possibility anyway. If you don't want to kill the robot, by the way, but you do want to get into the strip extremely quickly, the easiest two ways to do it are the robots have a Science 80 check. So if you can pass Science 80, you're just allowed in anyway. The other way to take care of it is Mick and Ralph's getting a forged passport from him. Interestingly, there's this kind of big whole thing where if you do loads of work for the king makes a fairly big deal about how he can arrange for Mick and Ralph to kind of get you a forged passport. You can just go and get one anyway. Literally just head into Mick and Ralph's, then talk to Ralph, ask him if he offers any other services.
I only offer services if the king gives the okay.
And with speech of 50, just skip that entirely.
Alright. Yeah, I've got a little side business going. What I'm about to share with you does not leave this room, eh? Over the years, I've gradually perfected my craft to the point of perfection. No one can distinguish between my work and the real thing. What I'm referring to is passports. If you've got the caps, I can whip up a strip passport which will fool even the most well-trained eye.
So indeed, he can get you a fake passport to get you into the strip straight away.
Hey, if you're interested and have the caps, they go for 500. Any less and it ain't worth the risk of getting caught. What do you say? You game?
And with barter of 50, you can get that price down as well. So it's a pretty cheap, easy way to get your way into the strip. Mick, meanwhile, sells a whole bunch of secret guns using his secret gun cabinet, which is super cool. And indeed, once again, ask him after the special items. And with speech of 30, he'll let you into his secret gun cupboard. Gotta like his secret gun cupboard. And he does interestingly have a very good variety of guns back here, including what to me looks like a railway rifle, and what to me looks like the... oh, what was it even called? The silenced machine gun thing from the pit in Fallout 3. So I swear he's got a couple of little Fallout 3 guns that aren't actually in New Vegas back here, but sadly, he won't sell them to you. He generally sells some really good guns from his secret inventory as well. Embrace of the Mantis King, added by Gunrunner's Arsenal. Yeah, if you're going for a high critical, high luck build and you're more in the melee or unarmed space, yeah, this thing's pretty damn good. Damage 48, DPS 92 with bonus critical chance and damage. That thing is bloody good. Little Devil that he's got, which is a unique variant of the 12.7mm pistol, that thing's damn good as well. Again, you're going to struggle for ammo for a little bit, but damage 47 base with a bonus critical chance, and it's a fast-firing gun. That is pretty bloody spectacular if you can just keep it full of ammo. He's also got some fun new armor, presumably added by JSawyer I've never seen before. Pyro Helmet, Explosives plus 10, very fun. Highway Scar, Damage Threshold 8, Explosives 10, and Fire Resistance plus 20. Could be situationally very useful against fire ants, for example. Hand-me-down Raider Armor, Hit Points plus 15. Interesting. And Commando Armor, that's actually really damn tough. I mean, Heavy Armor, just a variant of Metal Armor, Damage Resistance 20, Damage Threshold 24, is actually pretty damn high. Add in Sneak plus 20, that's actually kind of interesting. That's almost worth thinking about. That's could arguably be better than Power Armor, but yeah, alright, that's pretty cool. And the Boogeyman's Hood is, of course, back from Fallout 3, this time giving Rad Resistance plus 15. Now, I suspect it's going to take me more than one part to do literally everything in Freeside, because there's a lot of stuff to do in Freeside. And I'm going to do the Silver Rush stuff, because I think this is probably the side of things that many people haven't seen at all, because obviously, Silver Rush, eventually you get to a point where the game says, hey, sacrifice one of your companions, and most people say, how about no? So I'm actually going to do the entirety of Silver Rush now, just because I suspect it's probably the quest people have never actually seen completed, Birds of a Feather.
Mr. Soren, please get to the point. The second half of your payment is late, and I want to know why.
Miss Van Graff, my associates and I have decided that we wish to renegotiate the terms of our deal.
Might I ask for what reason? The shipment was delivered. The guns were tested before leaving this facility.
Regardless, we feel that the quality of the weapons is below expectation and hope to adjust the price accordingly.
Ah, I think I understand what the issue here is. Excuse me for a moment, would you? Jean-Baptiste, could you bring out the volunteer?
And you can see here that we do indeed have a slightly different version of this cutscene. A longer one that was recorded but wasn't actually put into the final game. This sort of explains what that bathroom back there is actually for. It's not just for you to carry guns into for the sake of stealing them. It was originally so they could hide this character to bring him out for a much longer, more interesting cutscene.
This is a lesson, Mr. Soren. A lesson in faith.
What is this, Miss Van Graff? I don't understand. Who is this man? What does this have to do with our deal?
Everything. Up until recently, this man was an employee of mine. He's quite handsome, don't you think? I know I did. We became close. I warned him that I was a very jealous woman, and he said he understood. Apparently he didn't. Last week, I chanced upon him in Gamora, being serviced by one of their two-cap whores. I was not pleased. I tell you all this because I want you to know that this man means a great deal to me. Do it. Never break faith with the Van Graffs, Mr. Soren. I expect you'll have the rest of our payment ready tomorrow morning.
You see, I can see why they potentially cut this down a little bit, because that's quite a long cutscene to sit through every time you enter the Silver Rush for the first time, but it never really made sense who this guy was, or, like, you know, why he died or whatever. Like, why was the conversation about this payment? Why was that guy killed? Who was he exactly? So yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense. She's just making a point that she'll gladly murder people, even people close to her. It just fleshes out this whole area and Gloria Van Graff a lot better. So I'm glad we've kind of got this content here restored. Also, I don't know if it's an intentional joke there, but as you heard a second ago, she mentioned that he was in Gamora getting serviced by a two-cap whore, and all he had on his body was two caps. So unfortunately, that was the only whore he could actually afford. Not sure if that's an intentional joke or not. So anyway, now we know a bit more about her, let's ask if she's got any work available and begin Birds of a Feather.
It just so happens a position opened up recently. We currently need another body to guard the entrance outside. Think you can handle that?
And all of a sudden, that cutscene takes on even more meaning. It just so happens a position opened up recently. Why? Because the guy who was shot was one of her employees. You're replacing a man who was just shot by her and her brother. Marvellous.
Wonderful. I already have a man outside who can show you the ropes and get you set up. His name is Simon. He's been with the family for years, so listen to what he says and follow his instructions.
So here we are now outside the door, and people are going to walk up to us one by one, and basically we're going to have to speech check all of them. This quest provides a couple of alternative solutions to different quests as well, because important people kind of come up to you. But the first few people, it's literally just a case of if you've got high enough speech, you can pass these nice and simple.
Hi there. Is this where I can pick up a laser gun?
And of course, I can't let this guy in because he's very, very drunk.
Hi. I was, in the area and thought I'd stop by to look at your weapons. Can I go in?
Seems absolutely fine, but we need to search you first.
Fine by me.
There we are, so another nice easy one, no speech check required.
Howdy. I just done broke the bank over at the Wrangler there and thought I might peruse your fine wares. Maybe lighten my purse a little?
Seems fine by me, but again, you'll need to be searched first.
Now hold on here, I'm not packing any heat. Ain't my word good enough for you?
No, it is not, and with speech 65, we can say that politely.
I suppose it's alright, if there's no other choice.
He's clean.
See, told you so.
Now, this next guy who's coming in the trader gear, he is in fact a suicide bomber wanting revenge against the Van Graffs for something they did to his family at some point. You'll find a note in his corpse that explains that. If you want the Van Graffs to be destroyed, and if you're doing Cass's companion quest, you do indeed want the Van Graffs to be destroyed, this is the easiest, safest way of doing it without actually requiring any difficult skill checks whatsoever. So it might be worth kind of letting him go in without searching him, because if you do, the place will immediately blow up. You'll have to fight Simon, but other than that, it's totally safe.
Hey, looking for something to replace my old revolver. Mind if I head in?
And sorry, we're gonna have to search you.
That's not really necessary, is it? I already told you I got this here revolver, right?
And sorry, company policy.
Damn, I knew this wasn't gonna work.
He panics and opens fire on you and goes down very, very quickly. Search his body nice and quick, and you can find yourself some C4 plastic explosive. Very, very powerful, and even if you don't actually want it for anything for explosion purposes, you can sell it, because yes, very valuable indeed. And there's the revenge note I mentioned. To whom it may concern, if you're reading this, then I am likely dead. I can only hope I've managed to take out some of those thrice damned Van Graffs with me. My family deserves that much at least. We can reasonably assume from what we learned from Cass later that the Van Graffs, who do occasionally decide to sort of murder, traders who are competing with them, probably murdered this guy's family. This is, of course, why you want to get to the body before he does, because now the body disappears, and if you haven't got the C4 at that point, you lose the C4. Fifth and final person is Pacer from the Kings. Later, Pacer dying is one of the solutions for the NCR quest related to the King. So if you want to kind of hold off doing this quest until you're going the NCR quest after the end of Act 2, i.e. after you've kind of already dealt with Benny, then potentially this can be a very good way of dealing with Pacer. If you antagonise him, he'll open fire and you and Simon can easily take him down, and that is by far the easiest solution to dealing with Pacer, though there's plenty of other easy ways to deal with him as well. And there we go, that's all there is to part 1 of Birds of a Feather. And at this point you're now allowed guns inside the Silver Rush, as you are an official, proper little employee who actually passed the first mission.
Simon's been telling me how it went. Let's do a quick recap. You kept away the undesirables, patted down the rest for weapons, and kept your cool. That is to say, you performed as instructed. Simon was impressed, and so am I. So you get a small bonus with your normal pay. Unfortunately, I found someone else with a little more experience, and he'll take over the position starting tomorrow. However, another task has come up that I could use some help with, assuming you're still interested in making some money.
The economics of Vegas are very, very interesting, which is, she just paid you 300 caps for, well, not even a full day's work, what is in-game time, just like a shift, a few hours work. But if you go up to like most hotels or something, you can often get a room for just like a handful of caps, like 10 caps or whatever. So indeed, this is a world where rent is about 3% of your income and there don't actually appear to be any taxes whatsoever. So, good quality affordable housing in the post-apocalypse at least.
There's a deal that we've been working on for a while now, and the buyer would like a sample of our weapons. I need you to run a package out to a discrete location that the client has chosen. Sound good?
Sounds nice and easy to me.
This client could mean big money for us, which naturally means big money for you.
I'm not sure it naturally means that at all. I'm just the flipping runner. I kind of wouldn't expect to be paid any more than normal if the deal turns out to be lucrative. But alright, thanks, you're a good boss. Now the nearest fast travel location to where you're actually going is almost certainly going to be Durable Dunn's Sack Caravan. Be a little bit careful there. There's a good chance when you actually fast travel there will be golden geckos pretty much on top of you, but hopefully there won't be on this occasion, or if there are, I can handle them. And no, on this occasion we got lucky, no golden geckos. So here's the chappie just standing out here in the middle of nowhere between golden geckos and rad scorpions. Not the safest place in the world to be by a very long shot, in fact. I'll take a banana yucca fruit though. Hello.
Are you the Van Graff's emissary?
And indeed I am.
Do you have what we requested?
And it's right here.
Ah, then our business is concluded. Tell your superiors that we will contact them shortly.
Don't challenge him, don't ask any questions, just hand over the package and be on your way. That's the way to be a good messenger. Interesting thing about Freeside, by the way, that you don't really notice until you're doing this on survival, which it does have a source of water. However, speak to this chappie.
The king controls the water pump. If you want water, you need to pay like everyone else.
So indeed, water is not free in this area. The kings are actually charging for water, which in the normal game you'd never bloody really care about, but on survival, actually kind of matters. This guy does in fact sell purified water. Not a terrible price to be honest, which is nice. So 10 caps and you can drink to your heart's content from this here pump. Sure, why not?
Don't get wise. We charge per use, so make that first drink worth the caps.
So indeed, now I've paid 10, I can hold down A and take a good long drink, but then the moment I release that, if I tap A again, I'm not allowed to use it. It would be considered stealing. So there we are, good long drink, and now we can be on our way fully hydrated again. And here's a nice touch that I'm pretty sure this mod adds, by the way. Remember how Gloria Van Graff said she found someone more experienced to do the job? Well, there's actually someone here. That person actually appears, and it appears to basically be Simon, but with a... In fact, I think it might just be Simon, but with a beard added, so we don't notice it's Simon. I think it's genuinely Simon, but with a beard. That's good. Hello. Can't even check if it's exactly the same voice, because you're not allowed to speak to him. But yeah, the guy that Gloria mentioned actually does show up, which I'm pretty sure does not happen in the base games. That's a cute touch.
Welcome back. Did you have news for me, or are you just here for the guns?
And indeed, I delivered the package.
And? Don't leave me in suspense. What was their reaction?
They said they'd be in touch.
Good. Good. Here's your payment. If you'll excuse me, I have some thinking to do. Oh, Jean-Baptiste was talking about a matter earlier that he needs help with. I volunteered you. See him for the details.
This is a really good way of getting money, by the way. Freeside's full of really good ways of getting money, and the reason is, of course, even if you show up at Freeside with 0 caps, you don't have the skill checks or the knowledge of how to get into the strip otherwise, that means you need to get up to 2,000 caps to get into the strip. So the game kind of has to orchestrate ways within Freeside that you can get your way up to 2,000 caps. So, you know, the Silver Rush just throws money at you. Over in the Atomic Wrangler, there's quests that just throw money at you as well. So there's a lot of very good, easy ways of actually making some caps dotted around this area.
Ah, just the person I was looking for. Your name came up in a discussion we had recently. My sister is very impressed with you so far, but I'm not. I don't think you have what it takes to work for this family. Luckily for you, I'm going to give you a chance to prove me wrong. What do you say? Want to make some real money?
Oh, yes, I was impressed enough with the money I was making already, but sure, why not?
All right then. If we're going to work together, there's only one thing you need to know about me. I like things simple. Recently, Glory negotiated a deal between us and a big-time player. We're talking more caps than you'd probably see in a lifetime. Your part in this is simple. To finalize this deal, I need to tie up a loose end. To do that, there's a girl I need you to find. Her name is Rose of Sharon Cassidy. That's some fancy shit, right? Don't know what her mother was thinking with a name like that. But this girl and I, we need to have a discussion. Find her, bring her here, so I can talk to her, one-on-one.
And any idea where she might be? Though admittedly, you know, my Pip-Boy has this magic ability to tell me where things are, so don't worry about it, but if you can give me any direction, that might be useful too.
Fuck no. If I knew where this bitch was, you think I'd be asking you? Still, there's someone who might. Old Alice McLafferty, Crimson Caravan, might know something. She keeps tabs on caravan traffic in the Mojave. Wouldn't put it past her to keep track of Cassidy Caravans and its owner.
Now this is actually very, very useful, because even though you can find Cass just using your Pip-Boy, she won't come with you yet. You need to actually do something involving the Crimson Caravan quest before she'll come with you. So we've got to do that next anyway, so that's a good way of directing you in the right direction.
If your answer isn't yes, I'll bring her here, or no, I won't because Gloria had me pegged wrong, then we're done here.
Gotta quite like this lovely chap. I'll totally do it.
Find her, bring her back here so we can talk. Needless to say, there's some good money in it for you.
So okay, he said Crimson Caravan, let's start off with the Crimson Caravan. So over at Crimson Caravan, we need to have a chat with Alice McLafferty, who runs things right here.
Welcome to the Crimson Caravan Company New Vegas branch. What may I do for you?
And I'm looking for Cass, and the Van Graffs told me to check in with you.
Coincidentally, I'm also looking for her. I've got a business offer she'd be interested in. I believe Cass frequents the Mojave Outpost, far south of here, near the California border.
So that gives you a location, but unfortunately you don't actually have the offer in question. Right now, Alice McLafferty has different work she needs you to do first, but that's fine. Her first little job's very easy to get out of the way, and then we can move straight on to Cass.
I'm afraid we have no current openings for caravanners or guards, but I am in need of a runner. Deliver this invoice to Dr. Hildern. You can find him somewhere inside Camp McCarran.
So here we are in Camp McCarran, and one thing that's well worth kind of picking up on the way past, inside the first recon tent, on the top of this bunk here, there is indeed a sniper rifle. I remember it being in worse condition than that. I'm not sure if it's conditions tied to level or something, but that is just up for grabs. You can just grab that. They just have a spare sniper rifle, and any bloody civilian who runs into the camp is welcome to help themselves. Obviously, for me, that is relatively useful, because I can use that to improve the condition of my Gobi campaign scout rifle, which otherwise is, until you've got jury rigging, quite difficult to repair. So it's very, very welcome to have a little sniper rifle waiting around there, so I can improve that thing. This place is also great just for getting rich in general, by the way, which is like, there's just a bunch of like gun cabinets sitting around, so let's just find some good stuff in here. There we are, so we've got like 2 submachine guns there for exactly the amount of weight I've got spare for 600 caps worth, so I will gladly take those. Right next to them here, you've got two 10mm pistols, very, very valuable as well. Over here, you've got, 2 cowboy repeaters, not quite as good, but again, like, hundreds of caps just sitting around everywhere. Always, always welcome. And that's before we get into the flipping, the medical tent at the back, the supply tent that's, the supply tent that's right here, that's completely unguarded, where you can just help yourself. When I say help yourself, like, some of the stuff in here is just up for grabs. Like, these refrigerators are just for anyone. So if you want, like, a really good, like, Brahmin steak or whatever, then just, like, go nuts, help yourself. So if you just, like, need a bit of food, pop in here, help yourself, eat it immediately, and then you don't even have the weight to worry about. But anyway, we're supposed to be going to find Dr. Hildern. And of course, he's inside the airport himself and will be introducing us to Vault 22. We won't be rushing there, but it's nice to know about it. Hello, Doctor.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Dr. Thomas Hildern, Director of Operations, OSI East. I presume you're here about Vault 22?
Not in the slightest.
Crimson Caravan runs a tight operation. Even out here in the waste, wouldn't do to keep them waiting. Was there anything else? Or were you just here about the invoice?
Oh, go on then. Tell me about Vault 22 while I'm here.
I believe that the inhabitants of Vault 22 unlock the secrets of vegetative growth. Plants are spilling from their gate. No one tends them. No one waters them. Yet they multiply and spread in all directions. Find the reason for this miraculous growth, and I promise you the OSI will see that you are generously compensated.
Perfect. I'm sure we'll get to that sooner or later. And of course, I'm sure this person in here will ask me to go and retrieve another scientist as well. Do you wanna... Angela? Angela?
Evening.
I swear she's supposed to interrupt me as I go out of this room. You sure? Yeah, you go.
Did Dr. Hildern...
She was stuck in an idle animation in a microscope. I wonder what would happen if I'd actually run for it at that point. Maybe I just wouldn't have got the secondary objective. Interesting.
But I'm willing to pay you if you'll find Keeley and make sure she's safe. Isn't right leaving her out there. No idea if she's alive or dead.
Alright, genius scientists find her as well. Got it. So, back to Alice McLafferty.
Welcome back.
And with that first part done, we can move straight on to the second part.
Well, you've proven yourself reliable so far. Would you be interested in more important jobs?
Everyone's very, very quick to trust in this universe. You do one job for them and they're straight up to the more important stuff.
As much as I like to handle matters personally, I can't be everywhere at once.
So, a few different jobs available she wants doing at the same time, first of which, of course, involves Cass, who we're after anyway.
There's a small trading outfit, Cassidy Caravans, that I'm interested in acquiring. They've been rather competitive, so it's time to buy them out. I have it on good authority that the owner, Cass, wants out of the caravan business. Cass frequently trades with the NCR, so you'll likely find her at the Mojave Outpost.
Alright, that's absolutely fine. And then we've also got business with Henry Jameson.
The Jamesons are very wealthy ranchers back in Redding, California, and significant investors in the Crimson Caravan Company. I was pressured into posting young Henry as the manager of the New Vegas branch. As you can see, he wasn't exactly cut out for the job. He was much more interested in gambling and prostitutes, and because of his family, I can't simply fire him. Henry needs to be convinced to quit, one way or another. I won't have a useless employee on the company payroll.
Gotta say, it's a fair position for her to take. And then finally, the gunrunner job.
The quality of the gunrunners' armaments is due to their manufacturing process. They craft all weapons on site. I want to know the secrets of their manufacturing process, which means you'll need to find some way to get inside their heavily guarded factory. I would greatly prefer that you perform this job undetected and without killing anyone, if it can be helped.
Something I absolutely love about this quest is because obviously she's hiring you as a runner and a messenger and a negotiator, and she's basically said, by the way, there's also a job involving, you know, espionage, infiltration, and stealing, so you can just straight up say to her, no, this is a legitimate job to me, I'm not doing illegal stuff, that's not what I do. And that's a totally legitimate thing. And then if you do that, that just scratches that objective out of your quest log, and you've only got to do 2 things. So I'll totally do that, because I don't want to cause trouble with the gun runs. You don't really get anything out of it.
I understand. No hard feelings. But you will, of course, keep our conversation on the matter strictly confidential.
I mean, how many games are there where someone says to you, hey, I'd like you to do this thing for me, and it's a little bit illegal, where you can say, actually, I don't do illegal things, so you're going to have to find someone else, and the game says, oh, that's fair enough then. I guess you don't need to do that. Go and do something else instead. It's beautiful. Beautiful mark of how wonderful New Vegas is. So, of course, next up we do indeed have Cass herself, who needs to be bought out of the caravan business, and she can be found at the bar at the Mojave Outpost. Except, of course, there's a bit of a twist with her. When you tell her that you want to buy the caravan...
They want to buy Cassidy Caravans? Don't they know it's burned to ash? No. Even times being what they are. Not sure I'm looking to sell. Even for all the whiskey in Reno.
So if you wanted to accept, you're going to need high barter or high speech. So let's skip straight up to speech 75. And if you made the caravan, you're responsible for killing it.
What did you just say to me? 'Cause you sure as hell got my attention now.
No sense carrying around a dead caravan, Cass.
Me, that's who. I'm not gonna let it go just yet. There might be some survivors, or... Who am I kidding? There's nothing left. And I wouldn't be here drinking in some shitty bar in the ass of nowhere if it wasn't true. Give me that paper. I'll put my name to it. No sense trying to hold the past between your fingers when it's nothing but dirt. All right. There you go. Caravan's yours. Feel kind of relieved, actually. Guess I didn't realize how much I was carrying around with just the name.
And what are you planning to do now, Cass? Because if it would be travelling with me, that'd be perfect.
Go with you? And why the hell would I do that?
I could do with someone who knows the roads.
So you're looking for someone to help, not just tag along. Huh. Walking the Mojave with you can't be any worse than here, that's for sure. Alright, I'm in.
And there we are, and we've got the Whiskey Roast perks. Obviously that means you can't get addicted to whiskey, so you can just get the benefits from, which is plus strength, I think. Hang on, let me just double check. You'll have some whiskey on you. Yep, damage threshold +4, charisma +2, strength +2. It's actually a pretty decent thing, and obviously with no risk of addiction of Cass, it's not bad at all. Now, funny thing about Cass, the way she reacts to you is actually dependent on your karma. Karma does almost nothing in Fallout New Vegas, but it does affect how some companions talk to you. So if you recruit Cass when your karma's already low, like mine is, because the easy ways to get good karma have been taken out of the game, and then just speak to her for the first time, she jumps straight into this.
You are such an asshole sometimes. Look, maybe you were like this before I signed up with you, but if you keep acting this way, I'm not gonna stick around much longer.
So that strikes me as a little bit harsh for literally the first word she said to me as we're travelling together. Bloody hell. So yeah, with speech 65, luckily you can actually talk her around. So tough words, I needed to hear them. I'll change, I promise.
I'll stick around for a little while longer, but if you get out of line again...
Generally, just don't speak to Kath, because if you talk to Kath, there is actually a risk that she'll basically say, no, you're too much of an asshole, I'm leaving. So basically just don't talk to her, just travel around with her when you need her, but otherwise don't do anything. Dig into her drinking habits, by the way, and you can actually get a unique moonshine that she can make for you as well. So you need maize, mute fruits, yeast, and a fish and pat tree, and she can make you moonshine. Lovely. So, back in Freeside, and may as well do the other half of that quest that Alice McLafferty set me over here in the Atomic Wrangler. We know for a fact that we've got what's-his-face, something Jameson. Henry Jameson, I think that was it in here. He's very easy to get out of the way if we just... That's darn, I was hoping there might be a star bottle cap in there for me right there. You, Henry Jameson, I'm going to speech check you away.
No matter what that old bitch McLafferty says, my dad said I could be in charge of the New Vegas branch. Besides... I got into a little money trouble with the Omertas. If I quit the Crimson Caravan, how am I supposed to get the money to gamble?
NCR Reputation is a really good solution to this, by the way. Because he's high up in the NCR, or rather his parents are, then you can basically just say, well, because I'm so good with the NCR, I can get word to them. Speech 50, of course, gets you a bit more XP, so I'm going to go with that. And if you can't do either of them, then you're going to have to make a deal where he's going to try and extort money from you. So, Speech 50, I'd say.
What? No, wait. Look, I just need time. Don't rat me out to them. You want me to quit the Crimson Caravan? Fine, I quit. You can tell McLafferty that she won't see my face again.
Not sure where he is planning to get the money to pay off the Omertas now, but never mind. And this here, of course, is the moment where most people stop doing the quest line of Birds of a Feather because poor old Cass is about to die. I've just dropped a save, which we're going to be restoring to, but I'm going to show you the rest of that quest now, even though I much prefer, and it's much more interesting to do it the other way. I think a lot of people have never actually seen the end of Birds of a Feather, so let's go and see that. Cass, let's go inside. I've got a man with a nice laser shotgun to chat to.
As I live and breathe, Rose of Sharon Cassidy, the late Rose of Sharon Cassidy, was hoping you were on that caravan I massacred, but Crimson Caravan and Van Graffs won't need to worry about you anymore. Mojave's ours, and we're shutting you down for good.
And obviously you can decide to try and back her up if you can, but you're surrounded by people with energy weapons. It's not a good idea. If you've brought it to this point, not with her, watch the spread.
Waited too long to finish this. Last loose end, all wrapped up. Hi, I'm John Baptiste, and you're about to stop being a pain in my ass.
And she gets melted to dust.
Oh, that was fun. Did you see the look on that bitch's face? Priceless. Anyway, Glory's been antsy lately because that big deal she's been working on is finally going down. If this thing goes down, we'll have it made. Fucking made, I tell you. Talk to her about it. I'm sure she'll want you along. And don't think I forgot your pay. A job well done is its own reward, but it doesn't pay for pussy at the local brothel, does it?
He's such a lovely, charming man. 350 bottle caps there, and there's Cass in a nice ash pile. We, however, do get 13 bottle caps and an empty whiskey bottle to remember her by. But of course, none of this is going to stand. We're going to restore to that previous save point. And of course, I like where this plot goes. It's a good little twist, because obviously, you know, handing over packages to suspicious guys in disguise out into the desert, talk of a big deal. You kind of feel where it's going is obviously they're going to be siding with the Legion. They seem like the sort to side potentially with the Legion, but let's just see where it does go, shall we?
Good, you're here. Do you remember that package I had you deliver? Well, the client liked the sample and put in a massive order. It's possibly the biggest order we've ever supplied. I've had to repeatedly assure my mother that everything will go smoothly. And that's where I'm hoping you'll come in. We'll be bringing an escort, and I want you on it. What do you say?
Alright, totally in.
Perfect. We're still getting everything together, but I can always find a use for idle hands in the meantime. Once we're settled, we'll head out to the rendezvous point.
And now we just fade to black and teleport straight to a mysterious abandoned warehouse just outside McCarran, in fact. And indeed, there we are. Legion.
They're taking an awfully long time inspecting the weapons. I'm beginning to think they're doing it just to unnerve us. Don't let them rattle you, though. The deal's almost done. There's just one last piece of business left. Speaking of which, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Things are about to get a little crazy. When I give the signal, follow my lead, okay?
Hang on, what?
I don't have time to explain now. Just do as you're told and we'll all be rich. I trust you find everything acceptable?
Everything seems to be in order. Caesar will not soon forget this.
No, I imagine he won't.
And in comes a grenade. Smoke grenades go down. A few people fall to the ground immediately. And there's a bunch of Legion that suddenly need to be shot. And we're murdering the Legion. And if we look behind us, the NCR has just run in. The Vangraffs were not in fact working with, or rather, they had the option to work with the Legion, but they decided instead that selling out the Legion once the deal was almost done to the NCR was the more valuable course. Which is, in all fairness, the most mercenary thing you can do, so it kind of suits them. You'll get a lot of good stuff going on here. Hunting shotguns, of course, can be very, very good quality. Some of the Legion kind of retreat into this area. Make sure if you want to loot this area, by the way, you do it now, because otherwise there is not much chance to do it again. You go down, you've lost your gun. Marvellous. In fact, a lot of these guys have good quality shotguns. Yeah, another hunting shotgun. Not sure if that's a guaranteed drop. Ow, ow, ow. Guy over there. The NCR should be able to handle it, especially with the help of the Vangraffs. If you need help, just fall back to the opening area, because the opening area does have the advantage of, having the extra Vangraff guys, who seem to not really come into this area for the most part. They just kind of hold their position up front. But just go into this maze. Reminds me a bit of Mass Effect 1, by the way, just kind of going into this little maze area here and having to clear people out of a maze. Like the areas that are set in, like, the spaceships, where you always have to work your way through a maze of crates. Always seems to bloody happen in that. So yes, that there is the true end of Birds of a Feather. In fact, you are actually working for the NCR, albeit in a very dubious arrangement, but hey, it works.
I suppose you have a few questions.
Not really, just seemed pretty obvious, to be honest. And I thought you hated the NCR.
Oh, I do. They're a bunch of corrupt, bullying fools who think they can tell everyone how to live their lives, and my family's fought them for years. But that's just it. Do you know how large the NCR army is? If they wanted to, they could have beaten us a dozen times over. Do you know why they haven't? Money. Every time things have gotten too tense, we've paid them off and laid low for a while. They're an enemy we can live with. This Caesar, on the other hand, is a different animal. We've heard reports for years from our agents to the east. He doesn't tolerate his enemies. He makes examples of them. And he doesn't have friends, only servants. And the Vangraffs serve no one but themselves. Given that, the choice was rather simple.
Makes perfect sense, really. If you've got to have an enemy one way or the other, go for a completely corrupt enemy that you can bribe any time you need to.
Well, not exactly. The deal wasn't exactly sanctioned by my mother, but she'll come around when she hears about the profit I made. If she's smart, and she is, believe me, she'll turn this to her own advantage and make a bundle off our new connections in the NCR.
And what about the Legion, perhaps?
Hardly. They've got a lot of soldiers and slaves, but they don't come close to having the amount of wealth the NCR has. When I said we were going to be rich, I meant it. The deal I brokered with the NCR netted me 5 times what Caesar paid. Keeping Caesar's money was just a bonus.
Very nice indeed, Gloria. Very clever.
It'll be all I can do to supply the NCR with the amount of weapons they want, so I'll be pretty busy for the foreseeable future. Oh, you're probably wondering if you still have a job. I don't have anything open at the moment, sadly. But we're going to need all the help we can get transporting guns to the NCR, so stop by every now and then, and I might have a delivery job for you. And before I forget, here's your share of the take from the warehouse job. You can keep the armor. Thanks again for all your help.
And there we are, 700 XP, 1,000 bottle caps, and honestly, like, if you just want to hang back and let the NCR and the Vangraffs deal with the Legion in that area, you're more than welcome to do so. So I think, like, what do you get? 300 if you do the job well, another 250, 350 from him, and then 1,000. Yeah, you're almost at 2,000, I think, just off doing the Birds of a Feather quest. So if you need 2,000 caps to get into the strip, you can get like 90% of the way there, literally, by just doing these guys' quests. And arguably, you could say, like, if you want to do a perfect NCR ending, this could be the best ending. Doing Birds of a Feather in favour of the Vangraffs, basically, yeah, takes out a whole bunch of Legion, takes a whole bunch of money away from the Legion, and means the NCR are going to be supplied with cutting-edge energy weapons. Though, as far as I'm aware, you never actually see that in action. Like, you never start seeing NCR troops around the wasteland armed with energy weapons, which would be a really nice little kind of twist after you've actually done this quest. But no, that doesn't actually happen. But yes, sadly, Cass, we like Cass too much. And if we do it Cass's way, there's actually a whole other fun side of Freeside that I can show off, which I would actually like to show off because it's a bit more interesting. So, let's instead nip straight back to that. And back outside we are. Cass is still alive. And you know what? I think we'll pick up next week. There's a load of stuff to do in and around Freeside. Absolutely tons of stuff. And obviously, you know, opens up a whole bunch of stuff for Crimson Caravan and all sorts of bits and pieces. So, we will pick up with more Freeside next week, ladies and gentlemen, including some more work with Cass, some more work with the NCR, and some more work with the factions that call this slum their home. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I've been John. This has been many a true nerd, and this has been Fallout New Vegas Survivor Mode with the JSawyer Mod. Thank you very much, and goodbye. T-34 moves closer to you. Oh yeah, I'm going to get some with one of the finest tanks the Soviets ever produced. Owen, I wanted to ask you, do you think you... Oh no, who just showed... Oh, screw you, Sherman! Get out of here, you damn American! I want to make out with the Soviet tank!